Hello everybody, John12 back here again with another video. Today is Wednesday night, and as always, I'm back with another Arrow review. So today I'll be recording and reviewing Arrow Season 3, Episode 13, titled Canaries. Now, if you've not seen tonight's episode, this may contain spoilers, so of course, go check out the episode, then come back so we can talk shit. Anyways, getting into the episode at hand, the first thing I need to talk about is the oversized pink elephant in the room, which is, of course, the two Canaries. Now, of course, based off the teaser, you all know that Katie Lotz has come back on Arrow to film some new stuff. We already knew that from, like, the beginning of the season that, you know, we were going to see some more stuff from Katie Lotz / Sarah, but today it's because of Vertigo, as we have also seen in the teasers for today's episode. Basically, Vertigo is back in action. He's gotten out of Iron Heights prison, and he's seeking his revenge on Team Arrow, basically, as all villains do. And essentially, somewhere down the line, he has a specific fight with Laurel, who denies and ignores Oliver's basic actions to keep her out of the fold, and basically goes on to pursue Vertigo on her own. And this completely backfires, and of course, you know, he injects her with the Vertigo drug, which, you know, brings out the fear, and she sees her sister, Sarah, who's of course killed. Now, first off, I personally, as much as I enjoyed this episode for that specific reason, I just wanted to mention this before the season continues to go on. I think the biggest mistake in Season 3 was killing off Sarah Lance, a.k.a. Black Canary, and making Laurel Black Canary. We already knew that inevitably that would happen, of course, because the Black Canary, unlike characters, you know, like Superman or Batman, like, there's only one of those. There's only one of those. Some people can come and try and take the mantle, but there's only one Bruce Wayne, there's only one Clark Kent. But for Black Canary and other characters like her, like the Flash, there's variations. Of course, you have your Wally Wests, then you have your Laurel Lances and stuff like that. So, of course, it was inevitable that she would go off and do her own thing or be killed, and then Laurel would become the new Black Canary. But I think they did that a little too early. I mean, granted, it was basically the catalyst of everything to happen in the season, of course, you know, with the whole League of Assassins, and you have the Ra's al Ghul stuff, and the Malcolm Merlyn stuff, and the Thea, and Laurel becoming new Black Canary. I get that, but at the same time, I don't know, I guess it's because I'm such a huge fanboy, and I really liked Katie Lotz. I mean, like, Katie Lotz, along with, like, Manu Bennett as Deathstroke, were one of my many, my top two reasons as to why I got into Arrow. Like, that second season, they were so dynamic to the story that I just loved it. I just loved how they just were a part of the team, and they had their own personal issues with Oliver, and they kind of went their own kind of separate ways at the end of the whole thing. And when you come into this new season, it just felt so, like, did you really have to do that? I mean, like, granted, it had to happen, but I just personally would have liked that to have happened at this point in time. Like, if Sarah died now, it would be appropriate because you've had more time to love her and appreciate her and understand Laurel wanting to become the new Black Canary because of her training with Wildcat. Okay, sure. But then, you know, you can just go off into those kind of, you know, story plot points. But because if they did it too early, it just feels so awkward and weird, and you had the whole, you know, her keeping it a secret for every, it was so annoying and crappy. But one of the best things about this episode that is they addressed it. The writers had the decency to at least address it, because, you know, there's variations with her fight with Vertigo, where she's obviously has been injected with the drug, and she sees not only Sarah, but of course her father, Detective Lance, and they're both arguing with Laurel about how she's not a hero, she doesn't know what she's doing, she's going to get herself killed, she's taking the mantle that she does not deserve, and she should have never kept these secrets against her father. And that's, I think, one of the best points that they did in this episode in and of itself. I think that was one of the greatest parts about the episode that I personally really appreciated, because it's one of those things that I always disliked. There's only been two big like over the top major issues I've had with this season so far. One of them is the Hong Kong stuff, and the first one is the Black Canary debacle. And as much as I understand that they have to do this, I just give them at least a good kudos for them addressing it in that kind of way. You know, and plus it's just good to see Katie Lotz again. I'm just a huge fan of hers. But nevertheless, anyways, Vertigo is back. Team Arrow obviously have to take him down, and of course there's a whole bunch of debacles, not only going with Laurel and her Canary aspects, but of course with Oliver and his own team. He's obviously, you know, trying to adjust with the new way things have been going down, of course, with his, you know, his, him being gone, you know, has been a huge factor with the team now, because they're not doing this for him, they're doing it for themselves and doing it to protect their city. They're not doing it just to hang around Oliver anymore. They're doing it because they want to, you know, save everybody. But it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time, because as much as I get where they're coming from, it's also kind of annoying. It's like you guys wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him, but you're trying to argue the fact that he's the problem. How is he the problem? He was killed. It's not like he wanted to be killed. He had to go there. It was inevitable that he would face off Raish. He lost. He got killed, basically. And he got better under undisclosed reasons by Katana, which has still yet to be confirmed here. But now he's back. Why can't we just, like, settle the fucking... Put down the egos. Put down, you know, the personal vendettas. And just team up and become a legitimate team where we can, you know, face off a major threat. Because it's one thing to have, you know, the fucking Deathstroke and Mirakuru soldiers. But it's another thing to take on the entire League of Assassins and Ra's al Ghul. You know, because they're two completely different factors. One of them has a vendetta against Oliver. Raish has a vendetta against Thea. Which is way, you know, well, not really Thea, but Malcolm and Thea. You know, so it's just one of those things where it's like you have to settle those scores later, but for right now, try to fucking train together and work together, and then we'll face that fucker later. You know, if they end up actually facing off against Raish, which will most likely be the finale, or what have you, if they beat him, which I'm pretty sure they would do, I'm pretty guessing that would happen. They're pretty much going to win. It's inevitable. You know, as much as I find it hard to believe that Green Arrow would ever beat Raish in the comic books, in this TV show, in the context of this TV show, I can find it easy that, you know, they would come back with a vengeance. So I can see that happening. But fucking deal with Malcolm later. Like, when you beat him, then you fucking kick his ass and put him in jail. Then it's a done deal. I don't know why people like Felicity and Roy and now Thea have this humongous problem with it. It's like, let's just deal with it later. You know, you can't fight Raish without Malcolm's help. As much as he's an asshole, deal with that later. Keyword later. But, you know, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, everybody has their own personal problem with it. Felicity has her own personal problem with it. I discussed that earlier. Roy has his new problem with it. Thea has a new problem with it because now that she's, and spoilers of course, now that she's discovered that Oliver is officially the Arrow, that's okay. But because Malcolm is his own thing and he's the reasoning behind all this terrible nonsense, you know, now she has her own personal vendetta against him and doesn't trust him. So, it is what it is, and it's really weird, and I wish they can just deal with it for the sake of saving not only the people that they love, but the city itself, because obviously Ra's al Ghul is going to destroy shit, so it's only inevitable. But, yeah, that's kind of, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing as to why I have a problem with it, but overall, it's very interesting. But beyond that, we also have the Thea situation. Now, Thea obviously is having this relationship with the DJ guy at the fucking club. And I really don't care about that character. And after this episode, it's okay to be like, oh, fuck that guy. Because, spoilers, he dies. Yeah, spoilers, he is killed. There's a specific scene where Thea's having her own problems with Roy and Oliver. Roy and Oliver are obviously, you know, in bad terms because of the whole him being gone, him coming back, trying to do things his way again. And, you know, bringing Thea into the fold and then telling her what to do. It's a whole big issue. and it's you have to watch the episode to understand basically. But overall, they just have big issues with each other at this point. But there's a point where she leaves, finds the DJ guy, they kiss, and in my head I'm like, oh shit, this is going down. This is the part where you have to skip. But if you want to watch on, basically they fuck, they have sex, and at the end of it, you know, she eventually discovers, oh wait, that's a guy, that's an assassin. He's an assassin, as hinted in prior episodes. He's a part of the League of Assassins who's trying to kill Thea, and obviously is ambushed by Arsenal and then Malcolm himself. So it's a whole real huge debacle, and it was cool. It was very interesting. I like the ending because they didn't technically kill him. He killed himself, dosing himself with cyanide. So I guess it was a good way to go. And like, just, you know what? That's the way you do it. You know, you fucking hate a guy, you let him kill himself. All right. That's how I think characters that are douchebags in TV shows should just off themselves. Just kill yourself. You know, we don't have the fucking time or the budget to start, you know, having, you know, the hero kill the, you know, the nonsense dude. But nevertheless, I kind of really like that part in this episode. But beyond that, Malcolm introduces the fact that because Thea is not strong enough to fight on her own, and Oliver is obviously not strong enough to counter Raj's attacks, they have to go deal with their personal fears and vendettas and train to specifically, you know, prepare themselves for the major threat at hand. Which, at the big ending, which I personally really didn't see coming, but kind of did at the same time, they return back to the island. Yes, we already knew that the island would come back, and we see it here in this episode. It was pretty badass. I really liked it that we're back in the island. It's just, yeah, you can't avoid it. It's just, you gotta go. It's like Arkham Asylum for Gotham. It's like, you don't want to go there, but you have to go there, inevitably. You just gotta go. You have to go over there, you gotta put the Joker back for the millionth time. It's inevitable. It's the same thing here. The island, Oliver's just always gonna have to go back there. And basically, now, Thea and Oliver must train to become stronger characters, basically, to take on Raish and the League of Assassins. So, that's pretty much how this episode ends. And I personally really enjoyed it. And of course, there comes the Hong Kong, you know, flashbacks. Of course, you know, the Hong Kong flashbacks, basically, once again, I'm not really big on the Hong Kong flashbacks, but I guess this one was a little bit more interesting. Basically, Maceo discusses with Oliver that because of their actions in the prior flashbacks, in the prior episodes, that now they must split town. They basically got to get the fuck out of there. So basically, Oliver decides that if he makes himself well known that he's alive, then Amanda Waller can't kill him, and Maceo is going to take his family and get the heck out of Dodge, basically. So essentially, that happens. But Amanda Waller's trying to kill them. They come up with this huge scheme that, of course, if Oliver does not tell Amanda Waller where Maceo and his family are heading, then she's gonna basically kill Thea. That she discovers that, okay, well, if I can't kill your mother, I'm gonna kill someone that's more inevitably could be killed, which is, of course, Thea. So that's pretty much gonna happen. And, you know, that's an actually interesting point to come across. I actually mentioned this, I want to say it was, my last episode review of Arrow. I stated in that episode where there's a conversation with Oliver and Katana, and that Katana states, I'm paraphrasing, of course, where she states that if you go on to fight this man, which is Raish, you're going to have to lose something that you love most, and she doesn't want to be there to see that happen. So basically, we already know that Oliver is inevitably going to lose someone that he loves at the end of the season, most likely. And I stated that end up could be, you know, Felicity, especially how they're on bad terms. But now I'm kind of thinking, what if it's Thea? Because Thea killed Sarah. We already know that. Because of Malcolm, sure. But Thea did kill Sarah. Thea's not strong enough to fight the League. And on top of that, it's kind of hinted at this, like this whole plot device of Amanda Waller versus Oliver, and her using basically Thea as collateral for using Oliver, that Thea maybe could be a possibility of being killed this season. So that's my new theory, folks. But let me know in the comment section below what you personally think. Who do you think will die at the end of this season? I originally thought Felicity, and I still kind of do. But now I'm thinking, what if it's Thea? So that's my second option. So these are the two characters I think could end up getting killed. and I want to know other people's personal thoughts on that. Once again, I'm not bashing them. I love those characters, and I love the actresses who play them. But I'm just saying, it's a possibility, folks. I mean, like, who knew that Moro was gonna die last season? I fucking didn't know, but it happened, and of course, something has to go down in this season. So, major characters die in the finales, folks. It happens. Anyways, at the end of the day, this episode was pretty badass. The action was awesome. I love the action. The fight scenes were amazing. Every single moment was just badass. I love that whole Arsenal and Oliver thing. I mean, and plus the opening was just badass. I mean, you gotta love the whole, running off rooftops and jumping off, fucking just skyscrapers and stuff. That's always good to open up a fucking Arrow episode in my book. So overall, action was amazing. The visuals were great. Vertigo's back. Seeing Katie Lotz was amazing too. That was also pretty badass. Them going back to the island was pretty cool. Oliver and Thea going to be training. That's pretty badass. Sarah versus the new Black Canary Laurel was pretty badass. I like that. Vertigo was whatever to me, but it was inevitable that he would come back. The flashbacks I didn't really care for. Oliver kind of fucked up Maseo there for a second. He really sold him out, literally. But I understood what that was going on, and where's that going to go? I really don't know. Of course, everything fucks over for all these characters, so it's only inevitable that things will end badly for them. But in the end of the day, this episode was pretty badass. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. There were some problems I had with it, like the whole Black Canary thing. Not to mention the Thea and that DJ guy thing was another factor I really didn't like, and the whole aspect about the Team Arrow not really trusting Oliver's actions I really didn't like. But overall, the season's definitely picking up over the course of the last few episodes, so I'm really anticipating what's going to happen in this finale. I'm just saying, this episode was pretty badass. Definitely check it out. It's definitely, out of all the episodes that have passed over the course of the mid-season finale, this one is definitely my favorite. I mean, Uprising was pretty badass, but this one's definitely a lot better. And also, I can't wait for next week's episode, because as hinted in the teasers, Deathstroke might be coming back. Yes, folks, Deathstroke, Manu Bennett could be reprising his role as Slade Wilson. We're back in the island, and you know what that means. Argus is right there, right below, and who's in there? Well, two guys are called Captain Boomerang and Deathstroke, and it seems that they're going to be using them for training sessions, or maybe Deathstroke might break out and attack Thea. I don't know. Shit's gonna go down. I cannot wait for next week's episode. Fucking awesome. But at the end of the day, I give it an 8 out of 10. Let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. And also let me know what you think about the whole Canary situation. Personally, I really give them a kudos for addressing the Black Canary debacle. I also really like the fact that Laurel basically came clean about the Sarah thing to her father. I mean, like, it was about fucking time. But yeah, I like that. But let me know what you personally thought about that. And also, what do you think's gonna happen to Thea? Do you think she might die, or do you think she might become Artemis? Because now that she's gonna be training with Oliver, do you think she could become that character? That's just my personal insight. And also, who do you think will die out of the two characters, Felicity or Thea? I'm just saying, I know everybody loves them and everybody wants to deny this could happen, but it's a possibility. And after, the last 2 episodes have passed, these two characters seem like it could happen. But let me know what you personally think. And also, what do you think about Diggle becoming Green Lantern? I know that has nothing to do with this episode to review, but at the end of the day, there's been a lot of talk about Diggle possibly becoming a Green Lantern. And, yeah, Diggle becoming Green Lantern. As much as I want him to be in a costume, I really don't know how I feel about that. I might have to make a separate video on that, but let me know what you personally think about it. And, yeah, tonight's episode was badass. Can't wait to see Deathstroke return. And, who do you think is going to die at the end of this season? Or maybe the Flash can come in and help out the whole situation. I don't know. Maybe a new Justice League team-up for the finale. I don't know. More crossovers, that's what I say. But that's pretty much my review of this episode. If you want to know my personal thoughts on the Flash's Nuclear Man episode, go to my channel to check that out. Also, Check out my review on last week's episode, and also check out my video on the Ray Palmer Atom Suit breakdown / review if you want to know my personal thoughts on that. And come back next week where I'll be giving you more Flash and Arrow reviews. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. And this has been John 12.